Hey everybody, how's it going? So one of the things that I wanted to discuss today is a bit of a follow-up to this one video that I had done a while back where I had mentioned that I had not had the best of luck with on-the-job training. I mentioned this with some of the internship videos that I did where I personally benefited greatly from the ability to have internships at some recording studios that I would have never in a million years gotten a job at as a 17-year-old with no experience. And then I got to learn a lot that really helped me when I started a business. And I was talking about how I've also had opportunities here where I've tried to have on-the-job training work, because this is a field where it's really difficult to find people that, just, it's not like there's a class in college of MacBook, liquid damage, board repair, or anything like that. And my experience has often been that the on-the-job training virtually never works. But what I have noticed works, as I've said, is I've had people that had a lower position here that, on their own time, maybe they'd spend a half hour extra each day, or they just ask a bunch of questions to someone else who worked here and put a little bit of time and effort in, that would eventually be able to figure things out and actually become really good at it. And that's been very successful. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Just the concept that one thing I've noticed is, and this is something I noticed when I used to teach practical board repair school with Jessa Jones, is when you need something to work, when it within the next week or 2 weeks or month or 5 weeks, you must learn all of this and be good at it, or else, or you won't be able to pay rent, or you're going to get fired, or you're going to fail and people are going to be disappointed in you. That virtually never works out. Like the people that would show up to the class that just, they quit their job at Walmart the same week they figured out that their girlfriend forgot to take their birth control, so a baby's on the way or whatever, and they need to pay for it off of iPhone board repair, that they would come to the class and they wouldn't be able to really absorb the information and learn from it. But the people that would learn from it, that would learn greatly from it, were the people who, I just want to add this to my skill set. I'm just kind of curious. Let's see what they have to offer. They'd be able to actually absorb the information because they were not coming at it from this really high stress place. And here I found that to be pretty much the same case. So this is the shipping station over here, and we've got a bunch of the chipsets that we sell on store.rossmangroup.com over there. By the way, we just recently added the MUX chip to the A1707 and A1990 MacBook Pro. It's along with the screen connector, so when 52 volts goes there because of the shorting the backlight to the data line, we have the chip. Check it out, store.rossmangroup.com. The shipping person, within about a year after starting to work here, actually became a board repair person, and this is his workstation over here. That's him. That's him. Bald spot and all. But I'm semi-kidding there. But yeah, he has a board repair station, power supply, microscope, quick, HAKKO, and power supply, and a Xiaomao that he is actually becoming proficient at learning how to use for PCH replacements or CPU replacements on A1989s and A1990s where they need the data but the CPU is dead. All of that inside of a year, he was doing his shipping every day, and at some point he just kind of said, this is kind of boring, but I like this place. I like working here, so what else can I do? And he saw all these people here that were, he was shipping out other people's board repairs every day. He was reading the notes in the boxes. He was seeing the responses in the ticket system when people were appreciative of what we did, and he wanted to be a part of that. So every day, half an hour, he'd put a little bit of time and effort in and he learned it. And, I gave him a bonus as a result of it. Not as much as I would have liked to, but this year has kind of been a complete clusterfuck. But we'll see. Hopefully in the future there'll be room for more. This here is Steve's workstation. These are all of Steve's hard drives. Steve heads up the data recovery department here. This is where he has a lot of donors. That is another section of donors. Some of you have been actually kind of generous and sent in some old hard drives as donors. This is one clean room bench, another clean room bench. There's a PC3000 over there, a Deep Spar, a Rousselot, a bunch of stuff that he's got over there. I'm probably not even pronouncing it right. I'm a moron when it comes to data recovery. But he's very good at it. And he started here actually as the person that did customer service. I hired him originally 7.5 years ago when I was opening the Brooklyn store as a low-level technician, you know, like it was just a few bucks above minimum wage for someone who could do like the bare basics technical work, if even. And he was decent at it, but where he really shined was when there would be someone who would walk in who would drive one of the technicians crazy. He would often step in and go, wait, I can talk better than this. And the technician who hated talking to people would say, oh, great, I'm going to go back to my room and, you know, do my work. You deal with this. So Steve eventually became the person that dealt with all the people who were unreasonable or aggravating, or if someone would come in with a giant chip on their shoulder or was being an asshole, we would just kind of, you know, Steve would just usually jump in front of us and take over. He really enjoyed turning miserable people into happy people and representing the business well when someone was trying to get one over on us. And at some point, he really, you know, about, I think, around 4.5 years in, he was doing customer service on some of the data recovery jobs, and he's thinking, you know, I don't like, this is getting kind of boring. Let me try this. And he takes some of the drives that were, you know, like junk that customers left from a year or two ago that they never came to pick up, and we just open them up and just try and work on them and read about it. And, you know, he spent an hour every day when it's a little bit slow and there's not much to do reading about it, and then he started staying a little late, and then he started taking some of the information home, and now he is doing the data recovery at the business. And one of the things that he and Dan both have in common, one of the things that I think made them successful, is that it wasn't a thing where they needed to succeed. So if Steve, in the beginning, screwed up when he was doing data recovery on a 2 or 3-year-old recycled hard drive that didn't belong to anyone, it didn't really matter. If he learned something in that half an hour where the store was dead and there was no customer service to do and no phone calls coming in, great. And if he didn't learn something, I mean, that was 30 minutes that he probably would have spent playing Yahoo Pool or something, either way. Same thing with Dan when he started doing the board repairs. One of the things that was really helpful, again, if he had learned, great, he learned a new skill. If he didn't learn it, okay, whatever, he's going to go back to doing his shipping and be bored. But it's not like the end of the world. And what I think is really important is having an environment to learn where you are low stressed, where you are allowed to fail. And that is something that I really needed when I started getting into doing board repair. I started getting into it around 2009, 2010, and I was a failure. I tried to get in 2012. I was slightly less of a failure, but still a failure. I started again in 2014. And that was when I was just able to dive in and get really good at it. But the thing is, I didn't come at it from this, I need this to work for this customer, or I will not make money, or I am screwed. I had a business that was already doing very well. Back then, it wasn't like the industry is now. Back then, you could buy screens for laptops for like $58 to $75. And Apple was charging people, you know, $500 to $1,000. So there was a fairly good margin to be made there if you were willing to do the work and not rip people off, even when the screens got a little bit more difficult. So I was able to actually make money doing that. So if I couldn't fix boards, it wasn't the end of the world. I was able to, if I failed at it, I just wasted some time at the end of the day. You know, like, no big deal, whatever. I was not like I was going to house parties or clubs anyway. And this was very helpful, because I was able to like learn at my own pace, and at the point that I didn't suck, I realized I'm onto something, and I just kept going and going and going. But I didn't get that discouragement from I need to learn this in 2 to 6 weeks or I'm done for, and if I don't, I'm screwed. And there's something to that, to learning in an environment where there's not a lot of pressure. One of the reasons that I don't think the learn on the job thing, or, you know, on the job training has ever particularly worked for me when I was an employee, or for me as an employer, is there's that pressure. So you need to learn this in this amount of time. So take a job like board repair, where, you know, in a place like New York City, with the expenses being what they are, like, even if you're not really that good at it, even if it's an on-the-job training thing, like in this day and age, like $20, $25 an hour, somewhere in that, like if you're going and starting at the basics. So when you add in, you know, the workman's comp expenses, the employer side payroll taxes, and so on, you're looking at somewhere around $4,000 to $5,000 a month for a trainee. So there's going to be some pressure there. There's going to be, okay, how much improvement have you made in 3 weeks? How much improvement have you made in 5 weeks? How much improvement have you made in 7 weeks? How much improvement have you made in 10 weeks? Because if you hire 1 or 2 or 3 people for on-the-job training and they're bad at it, that means that you just lost you just lost $30 or $40 or $50,000. And even if you have an employer who's a little bit more lax about it, who's willing to give you more time to learn, how much time are they going to give you to learn it? And there's going to be that pressure there. And there's been that pressure there for me when I was put into positions where I was vastly underqualified for what I was hired to do, and it was expected that I learn while I do the job. See, there's a difference between learning how to do something else while you're working within an environment and actually learning on the job. So if you are, let's say, a shipping person, and you work at a company that does, like security camera installation or something, and you also just so happen that they sell the systems, and you ask the people while you're shipping stuff, maybe you say, I'll come along to one of the jobs and see how you do it, and you're learning from the people there. That's different from actually getting a job as someone who installs security cameras when you don't even know what an anchor is or how an anchor works with drywall or anything like that. So you don't even know, let's say, how to hang a camera. There's a difference there. And I found that if you're within an environment and you're willing to soak in as much information as possible and ask questions and stay curious, there's a lot that can happen there. But I want to clarify that, just to be clear, where I have personally myself had issues, even when I'm applying for a job, and also as an employer, has been where there is that expectation that you're hired to learn this, in X amount of time I expect you to learn Y amount of stuff. That really does set people up for failure. It set me up for failure. I've given it a try every now and then when, I've let people on that I thought knew how to do something that they didn't necessarily know how to do. It's like, let me try to make the best of it. I have not had the best of luck with that, but I have had luck with this system. And the point of this is, if you are looking for a different position at the company you're working at, this is honestly probably a really bad time to do this video. I probably should have done this video like 2 or 3 years ago, because we're talking at a time when people are literally not allowed to work, not legally allowed to have a job, even if they are willing, able, and capable to work. So this is probably a thorn in the side. I really don't mean it that way. I am cognizant of that. But just always be open to the idea that there are other possibilities, that there's other stuff that you could be doing, that the people around you may be more willing and open to share information if you show an interest in things than you think. So, there are people that have worked here that do just reassembly. All they do is they take, once the board is fixed, they take the machine from the board tech, they put it back together, they clean everything up in the ultrasonic, they test all the components, they reassemble it, and that's it. Or they can replace a battery. Or they can replace like a keyboard. But they don't really know the electronics. They can't do data recovery. They can't do logic board repair. They can't do, let's say, iPhone liquid damage repair, anything like that. And after 5 years of working here, there's just none of that. I'm kind of curious what those guys over there do. I want to see what those guys over there do. I'm going to ask a question. What do those guys over there do? Or what are you doing with that? Or when I see that every time the customer comes in and they have this problem, you seem to run a green wire that goes right to this point. What's that for? Just out of curiosity. If you have that type of curiosity, it's going to help you with kind of climbing the ranks. Even if it's not in this job, it may help you with another job or at another company, because now you'll have some more information, you'll have some more background, you may look better in the interview. But if you don't have that natural curiosity, then it's more likely that you're going to stay where you are. And it's not something where I particularly have a say in it. I love these stories. I love this idea of the person that was at one point the lowest paid person at this business, doing the most basic job of talking to customers that, for lack of a better word, we just found to be East Village douchebags, to the highest paid person at this business doing the hardest job, and it literally being a job that he crafted for himself, because at the time we would outsource clicking hard drive data recovery and that sort of thing. Admittedly, I've priced myself a little too low at this point. We realized that a little too late once we had like 100 drives in the queue, but it is what it is. I wish we could teach people how to do that faster. But I would absolutely love to have more people, let's say that are a shipping person, come up to me and say, I find the box thing boring. Hey, every time they have this problem, you seem to do this. Why do you do that? Or, why do we buy so much of this particular chip? Does it fail a lot? Why does it fail a lot? I see you guys always requesting it in inventory. I'm just kind of curious what it does. I like seeing that. I like seeing that. It's not because I want to grab more money out of, or more work out of someone for a lower wage. I like seeing that story of people kind of being able to move up, to learn more, to provide more, and to be able to make more for themselves. And I know it's something that I can't really force on people. I would love more than anything for some of the people that just do the basic level, take machine apart, put back together, or reassemble after they're done with it, to take interest in the higher level things. And I want to show that there's always that opportunity. There's always that opportunity if you're willing to learn more, if you're willing to put in effort. People are willing to show you stuff, they're willing to help you, they're willing to talk you through stuff. All the information's out there, but you can't force people to if they don't want to. And I remember seeing the company kind of go in that direction when we really started getting more into board repair. In the beginning, I was the only person doing board repair here, and everybody else who worked here was either, just basic reassembly and all the other basic stuff. And I remember saying at some point there's going to be more people doing board repair here than people doing the basic jobs. And they thought that that's completely and utterly ridiculous. For there's not going to be that much of just board level work, and B, even if there is, there's no way in hell you're going to find all these people to do board repair. They don't exist. And they were half right. Those people that do board repair that are good at it or that know how to do it, they really are few and far between, which is why I started the YouTube channel, because I figured if that base of people that know how to do this doesn't exist, let's make them exist by showing them this. And I'm kind of happy that turned out that way. But it did turn out that way, where we actually do have more people doing the high level stuff than people doing the basic stuff at this point, and that's a trend that's going to continue as time goes on. So for instance, let's just say something like screen replacements. We have a lot of the newer machines. I said in the beginning, you used to be able to buy a screen to these computers for like $58, $75, maybe for the super expensive fancy schmancy ones, $85 to $95. Those days are gone. If you wanted like an LCD cell by itself, for a lot of them, $300, $400, if they even exist, when you get them, like 50-50 chance you're getting something that is decent. It's a nightmare. It's a mess. So like that job may be a job that is literally going away, and it's not because I want it to go away. It's not because I want to lose that revenue stream. It's not like I want to get rid of the person who knows how to do that job. It's going away simply because it is not going to be profitable to do those jobs when you look at Apple lowering the price that they're charging for screen repair services and the screens going up in price or becoming unavailable. Now, if you're one of the people who worked here that years ago said, I'm kind of curious what you guys are doing over there, who is willing to like literally just walk across the aisle, I guess literally. I'm sorry, I'm just so excited that my store actually has an aisle now. We used to not have an aisle. We used to have a hallway that we all worked in and had chairs in and bumped in. But if you were willing to walk across the aisle from here to here, there was an amazing learning opportunity there. And you would be able to, if the job that you do at some point no longer existed, well, maybe we could use you over here. However, if we're at a point where your job, because of reasons outside of my control, no longer exists, now there's not really much that I may be able to use you for. And down the road, 6 months, 8 months, a year, or 2 years, or maybe even sooner, if Apple winds up making all those parts repairable or unreplaceable, it may be something where I actually have to lay you off. Like that would suck. That would suck. It's not something that I would want to do, but it's something that I think is worth bringing up. This has probably been a really all over the place video that I probably could have done much better if I put half my brain into it, but I didn't. So that's about it. This is what the place looks like right now. I have the lights off in the front. I was gonna do like the whole decorating and counter stuff, and then COVID happens, and then we never really got around to it. And now I don't even know if I'm gonna be here next year, so I haven't gone ahead and like finished the place with a counter or anything. But yeah, that's about it. So I have a story about this. Erica spent about a day drawing. She wanted to draw a sign for me, and she wanted me to hang this in the window. And I think it's lovely. I think it's lovely. It may just be slightly less you know, professional, fancy or whatever than what I would use as a retail sign. So I didn't want to say it. You know, so I look at Steve and I say, Steve, what do you think of it? He looks at me with this look like, you motherfucker, you're gonna make me tell your girlfriend that drawing sucks when you know that you're gonna make me say it, you piece of shit. Like, his face kind of turned red, and it was just one of those very funny moments between the two of us. But I actually like the fact that Erica put time into making something nice like this, or at least, you know, some effort into caring to put something together that she made her smile and everything. So I hang it out over here outside of David's workstation. This is David's area over here. David has all sorts of tools. This thing kind of looks like a Game Boy Pocket. I think that's a programmer or something. Yeah, it's a programmer. I thought it was a Game Boy Pocket. Shows what a noob I am. Anyway, see you all in the next video. That's about it, and bye now.